Craziest thing, have you heard the rumors about a Mario Rabbids crossover RPG for the Switch?
Oh, God. Hope to God not.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lucky Number Episode 13 of Sketch Watch Play. My name is John Fleury.
And I'm Christopher Wade.
And we are joined by, this is our first guest list episode in quite a while.
Yeah. It seems that way.
Yeah, it started with, we had Tyler, then Colin, then Tyrone. That is 3 episodes of guests. And our Marvel episode where that started was all the way back in April. Man, it's been a while since just us two flying solo. But there's going to be some fun stuff. I think what I picked this week will give us more than enough material to work with.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
No, it's not. I can tell by your voice. You're like, no, this isn't going to be fun. It'll be fun to talk about. But let's talk about something genuinely better first. I'll just say real quick, because this not going to be the focus. I just went to AwesomeCon this past weekend over in DC, which was real fun. I met some cool artists. The main draw for me is always the guests, and there were actually 2 big MVPs this year, which I didn't stand a chance of meeting because of the lines. Yeah. It was Stan Lee and Jason David Frank, aka Tommy from Power Rangers. I didn't know that. Oh, you know Frank was there?
Well, I knew Stan Lee was going to be there, but not Jason David Frank.
Yeah, I saw them at their booth, but the line was crazy. I did get to meet David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake. Phil Lamar, who we just talked about with Samurai Jack. He's in a billion other things. A pleasant surprise from me was Kel Mitchell. Mm-hmm. I just strolled up and had to give him a big thank you for all the years of entertainment. I wonder if I was the only guy who brought up, because my sister used to watch that Clifford cartoon when she was little, and he did a voice of one of the dogs on it. And he was like, oh yeah, T-Bone. And I guess he was happy somebody didn't just mention All That or Good Burger or something. Mm-hmm. So that was the big thing. And Chris, anything fun you've been doing since our last recording?
Well, anything fun? Well,
or noteworthy.
I just mentioned to you over to before we started doing Skype that I recently got a kind of sort of quasi promotion at my job. Congrats. So not much fun. I think.
But activity.
Well, I got a little farther in Breath of the Wild. We bought Puyo Puyo Tetris on the Switch. Oh yeah,
you were mentioning that.
Yeah, and that's surprisingly fun and surprisingly brutal. So
I played some of it on a rental. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of love it. I kind of hate it, but I still kind of like puzzle games. So
no, me too. Me too.
I like those kinds of puzzle games where
I like the art style, though the cutscenes are cheesy beyond belief.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the cutscenes.
I skipped all of them, but anyway. But I think something bigger than the two of us happened this past week. I'm of course talking about E3.
Yeah. E3 happened.
Yep, and we got some pretty cool stuff. I'm actually, I didn't tell you this, I'm trying to put together a YouTube video doing my top 5 E3 features, either announcements or spotlights on already announced games.
Now remind me, was this the first E3 that went public? Because usually it's all open to investors. Oh, it was? Okay.
And apparently it was very crowded.
Yeah. I heard a lot of my friends started going there. I was like, is this typical for E3?
No. I think I told you I went there 3 years ago when I was still doing game reviews. We shared a hotel room, me and some other guys, and it was really neat. I met some of the guys from Harmonix, who make Rock Band and stuff. I don't remember if I ran into any other notable... Oh, I ran into a YouTuber I like, Pro Jared.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, he does E3 videos every year. He actually did one. I remember he joked about he did a video on the floor talking about he hated playing Sonic Boom, and then later realized that the producer of the game was standing right behind him.
Oh, boy.
At least he was honest.
Oh, that's Pro Jared.
Sonic's a story for another day, as we've said. But Chris, you go first. What were your favorite things to come out of E3, both announcements and more spotlights? Anything really?
The funny thing about E3 is that it kind of snuck up on me. I kept hearing all the pre-show stuff, and I was kind of, everybody was like freaking out of like all the cool stuff. So obviously Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite showed off its trailer, and you know what? No one liked it.
People have been very, very critical on its visuals.
Yeah, I'm a Marvel vs. Capcom fan, at least pre the third one. I loved 1 and 2. Me and my dad would often verse each other in the first two.
I heard 3 mixed some things up with like the controls and such.
But I wasn't too. I wasn't. By that point, I wasn't too happy with the art style, and I was already kind of fading off from it after the fact. It's just such a long lull.
And this is a step further in the wrong direction, you'd say.
Yeah. So when Dragon Ball Fighter Z came, it was
Fighters.
Oh my God! Like, it looks a lot like Marvel vs. Capcom with the 3-on-3 team ups and being able to pull off
the key difference being that the graphics are phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's the same guys who did the last Guilty Gear game, which I've only played a little bit of, but that is like the best cell shading I've ever seen in anything. Yeah,
like first glance at Cell and made me go, "Is that 3D?"
It is, but they're
2D.
Yeah,
It really does. Like, they even got it down where when Goku transforms to the Super Saiyan, like, they got like the actual aura coming off of him, like it did in the original Dragon Ball Z intro. Like, it's the
same movement.
That's how much attention to detail that they put into that game.
Yeah,
and it's really impressive.
Yeah,
and I've been watching gameplay videos back and forth, and I'm not a huge Dragon Ball fan. There's a lot of things I can appreciate about it.
We talked about it. Serena's the bigger fan of you too.
Yeah,
and me and Patrick, it helped a lot. We were big Z fans.
Yeah. But saying that, I really want this game. Like, like I really want it.
I forgot to mention, I really wanted to. There were 2 guests that AwesomeCon I wanted to see. It was Christopher Sabat and Sean Schemmel. Who, for those who don't know, they're the English voices of Vegeta, Piccolo, and Goku.
Yeah.
But their booths were either way too long, or I was there when they weren't. So I would have loved to say hi to them.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yep. But any other games?
I mean, obviously they're going to be in Dragon Ball Fighters. Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah, presumably. I think the home console games, they always do an English dub, not always the handheld ones. And this is a different developer, so we'll see. But hopefully.
Yeah,
I have no desire to. I've never watched DBZ with the subs, so I'm going to be sad if it's Japanese only. Especially because Goku was like this screechy woman voice, which I've always found strange.
I still really do dig that. That's
a lot of people do.
Yeah.
All Japan does.
I love that so much. Cringeworthy.
Apparently, that woman's like 80.
Oh yeah,
she's been voicing Goku from day one and is still screaming her lungs out.
Hey, she's still getting paid, and she's alive and kicking. What can I say? She's probably Super Saiyan right now. So, there's Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Then there's Mario Odyssey, and man, okay. All right.
MVP of the show. First time a game that's already been announced has just won E3 for me. Oh my God, I was smiling so much.
It looks great.
It looks phenomenal.
Now pre E3 when that trailer first dropped, people were not feeling New Donk City. They were not. You saw all the memes of Sonic Adventure and Mario Odyssey and all that.
I knew one, they showed it's not the only level, and 2, what was the other thing? But I just loved, like, it turns out Nintendo pulled a bait and switch on us with that original trailer. They thought they would had us going like, oh, you think the gimmick is just going to be like this city and like a hat power up? Oh, take a look at this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When people finally saw all those different features that you can use with the hat and all the things that you can actually do.
Replacing the power. They've said it's because they want to evolve the Mario power-up system.
It completely changes the dynamic.
It is such a great reinvention. Like, I'm going to say this in my video. Like, the last Mario game that really, really, truly I fell in love with and for me was the first Galaxy.
Yeah.
Because that was a phenomenal just reimagining of Mario. And since then, even though we've had plenty going, they kind of felt like they've been, treading old ground, like 3D World, New Super Mario Brothers. Like, they're good, but especially 3D World. But I was still like, this is not the step forward I wanted. And I was already starting to get the step forward feeling from Odyssey. But just everything they showed, like more fan service. Like Pauline's finally back. They're calling all the new Donk City is full of Donkey Kong Easter eggs. And even stuff like they've shown that the coins you can now buy, you can customize Mario.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
It's super awesome. Like I remember seeing like a few YouTube think piece videos go like really getting into the nitty gritty of like how Mario has worked so far. Like it's set like he's set in a magical universe where realistically all the characters are basically acting on a play, so they can work in any situation. Mm-hmm. But when you take them out of the element of fantasy and of quirky whimsy and put them in the real world, then quote unquote he loses its magic. But when you're able to twist that realism around into like the really oddball ways that Mario has always existed, like come on, he goes into like a warp pipe, fights a fire breathing snapping turtle to save the princess of the mushrooms. How fucking bizarre is that?
Yeah, well, people pointed out it's been that way for so long, we're all used to it. So only when it does something new that's crazy, people go, what? But personally, I'm all for it. I love what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I was kind of on the fence about it, but I was still optimistic when New Donk City finally appeared pre-E3. I was like,
just that first trailer.
Yeah. I was like, where are they going with this? And they can easily slip up, but when they showed that giant Tyrannosaurus getting possessed by Mario, I was like, I'm in.
Oh, game of the year, game of the forever. You can be a T-Rex.
The T-Rex has a mustache,
and it's like a photorealistic T-Rex. Like he's going to the world where it's just real things.
I'm in.
And yet everything he possesses gets his mustache and blue eyes. Did you see the shot of the taxi with the mustache?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
brilliant.
Fucking great. It's fucking great. Like he can possess like real people. Okay, I shared this meme. But did you see the picture of like it's like by the National Enquirer where it's like in all black and white and has Mario possessing like
Mario stole my body.
Like Mario possessed my wife and
and there's an interesting thing I'm reading because I was thinking like, well, wouldn't being able to possess every enemy break the game? It turns out you can only possess characters that aren't wearing hats. So a lot of enemies will be wearing hats. All but one city citizen will be wearing hats.
Yeah.
So they're aware. They're not just doing this thing willy-nilly. It's well thought out.
Yeah. There's knowing Nintendo, there's bound to be specific situations where you actively have to use your brain when the game disallows you from using that magical mechanic. You have to find your way around it.
We're all raving about the T-Rex, but can we just stop and appreciate the fact that you can become a tank? A Mario tank?
I did not.
It's blink and you miss it, and it turns into like a third-person shooter where you're shooting.
I didn't see that.
Missiles.
Oh my god!
It's right at the end, right before the T-Rex shot. It's amazing.
Okay. Besides that, there's a lot of, I saw another gameplay video, and they made they made a few small changes to like the Mario 64, go into like a
it is a new foundation. Format. It really is more sandbox open world.
But so now, whenever you collect like a shine or a star or
a moon,
whatever those moony things are, now when you collect those, the level doesn't stop.
No.
Like it's Banjo-Kazooie now, so you can keep going in the level and just play at your heart's content.
Yeah, it does mean that there'll be obviously less levels overall, but they're going to be huge, and they said there'll probably be like on average 20 to 30 moons per level.
That's cool.
It's awesome. I love the sound of this. Like so seamless. This is the Breath of the Wild of Mario.
It kind of is.
Structurally, it's the closest thing we're probably ever going to get to that.
By the way, off topic, I'm in Breath of the Wild, and I finally got my belly dancer Link outfit, and that shit is awesome. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he's hot.
I finally got it, and it's hot. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But there you go. The end.
But other games to go over. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was finally officially announced, and that made me so happy. Have you ever played the first one?
Beyond Good and Evil? No.
It's quite good.
But I know of it.
It was done by the creator of Rayman. Yeah. They did an HD re-release on PS3 and 360. Definitely worth a look. Very charming passion project of a game, and it really just warmed my heart that this guy finally was able to make this happen, because the original game bombed. It was critically beloved. People who played it loved it, but they couldn't go forward. It ended on a cliffhanger, and they couldn't go forward for a while like they wanted. But Ubisoft finally said go for it. Yeah, and that's awesome.
Now, I'll keep a good eye on it, because I didn't miss the first one, but I wouldn't mind jumping in on it.
It's going to be a prequel, very loose connections. I think because it's been so long, they're like a lot of people who play this will be their first one, so you might not have to.
Okay.
But to Chris, we're forgetting the true MVP of E3, Mario Rabbids Kingdom
Don't do that.
Battle.
No. No. I hate this game so much. You still... Like, I wasn't even done. I wanted to talk about Sonic Mania. You did this to me.
Okay, that's enough of my Rabbid voice. I posted this on our Facebook and Twitter. You are even more pissed than we could have imagined, especially because it looks fun.
My hatred for this game has grown. I mean, the fact that it looks fun does not make... It doesn't make it better. It doesn't. Okay. Just a little pretext. I'll give you guys some backstory here because I had the Wii for a little bit. Not for a long time. I gave it up after 4 months.
We talked about the Rabbids in our Rayman episode.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the Rabbids. Like, I had Rayman Raving Rabbids, and Jesus Christ. I mean, I liked the game for the 3 weeks that I had that game, and then I traded it.
It's a play it once and you're done kind of game.
Yeah, and
I pissed you off.
Well, hearing Ubisoft, whatever. Hearing the company that makes the Rabbids just... there's no denying that these characters are super popular, and there's no one denying that archetype of screaming, random, ugly.
Like we said, they're the proto minions.
Yeah, they're the proto minions. Like they're fucking everywhere. There's the regular minions for Deplorable Me. There is the little McDonald's mascot minions that are running around as the Happy Meal things. And then there's these things.
The screaming assholes, as you call them on Twitter.
Screaming assholes. I am so sick of these screaming assholes.
I've said before, I don't like their games, but I do find them funny as characters, so I'm okay with this.
Sure, in small doses. But they had a Nickelodeon show, and they had a fucking... okay, so knowing all this, knowing my seething displeasure of the Rabbids, there's also the fact that there's a giant... okay, let me work it back to realism. There's
deep breath.
There's a fairly large community of gamers who have very fond memories of Super Mario RPG: The Legend of the Seven Stars that originally released on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, myself included.
And Paper Mario is great. The Mario and Luigi series also great.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
And there's no denying that Squaresoft is doing awesome things on its own at the moment.
Great.
And they've done some stuff with Nintendo after they kind of split ways on the Super Nintendo. They had like the Mario Sports Mix, and every so often Nintendo will throw Geno in a game or something.
Yeah, he cameoed in Mario and Luigi, and he's a costume in Smash.
Yeah. So. See, getting another RPG-esque game, it's like an XCOM game.
It's a strategy RPG. Yeah, it's not a conventional. And actually, did you read the reason why the game is so different?
Why?
So the whole game was Ubisoft's idea, not Nintendo's. So they went and talked to Shigeru Miyamoto, and he actually is a fan of the Rabbids. So, but he said you cannot make this game if it's just going to be a Mario game with Rabbids or vice versa. Like if you told me there was going to be a Mario Rabbids game, I assumed it was going to be Mario Party plus Rabbids because that's their specialty. Yeah. And so they said let's take both series and do something neither has done before, which I appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree that is something that is a great way to go about creating a crossover project. Mm-hmm. But God damn it, there is also a Rayman community out here that would.
Somebody made a fan comic I saw on Reddit where Mario's talking. He thinks to Rayman. Rayman thinks to him like, "Go do a cross." Oh yeah, and Mario's like, "Oh no, I was talking to the guy behind you," and there's just a rabbit. You're like, "Ah."
Yeah, how weird is that? Like,
Rabbids are way more profitable.
Yeah, they are more popular. It's just such a missed opportunity. I don't like the fact that this game looks fun. I will never play it out of spite. I don't care how great it is. But just the sheer fact that
it exists.
Well, not even the sheer fact that it exists, that you couldn't even give us a game Ubisoft, you couldn't even give us another Rayman game, number one. Nintendo, you couldn't give us another RPG with either that's either a continuation of Geno and Mallow showing up, or a Mario plus Rayman RPG. Like, how kick-ass would that have been?
My dream Rayman game would be it plays like Origins and Legends, but with Mario characters and mechanics.
That would have been fun.
That would have been awesome.
I would have been okay with that. But god damn it!
And did you hear who's doing the music for it?
Oh, I hate these things.
Man, this is the angriest I've ever seen you on the show.
I hate these screaming assholes.
Holographic wife ain't got shit on the Rabbids.
I really do not like these things.
Then I think we can move on. But real quick, I'll also say surprise Shadow of the Colossus remake out of nowhere.
Yeah, and you know what? I like that. I like the Shadow of the Colossus game itself, but I'm a little less enthused about this, to be honest.
I am excited, but the PS3 remaster was pretty recent.
Yeah.
And they also said they're not going to add anything new to it, which is a missed opportunity because it came out and there were a bunch of Colossi that got cut from the final version of the original game. Mm-hmm. So doing like an enhanced remake with a couple new monsters would be cool. But I haven't played the game in forever, so...
I mean, I know that the last... Excuse me. I know that The Last Guardian just came out, and people had a pretty good time with that.
Yeah, they generally liked it.
Yeah, but I'm still like, so The Last Guardian just came out, and now you're doing a remaster of Shadow of the Colossus?
It's a full-on remake.
Okay.
They said the graphics are from scratch. The controls will be adjusted for like modern standards. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like what they're doing with the Crash Bandicoot, which, oh my god, I'm so excited for that trilogy.
I'm actually more impressed with the Crash Bandicoot.
Crash looks gorgeous. I was watching videos of the cutscenes the other day, and like just the character idle animations. It's so good. Yeah,
I'm like I said, I'm more impressed by the Crash Bandicoot getting re-updated than seeing Shadow of the Colossus again.
Yeah.
But,
well, there was way more they could update with Crash. Yeah, at least graphically.
Yeah, or I mean, they could have just teased a new like Ico Universe game, honestly.
Well,
and it would have been.
Okay, if it makes you feel better, this isn't Team Ico making it. It's actually the team who did the PS3 remaster.
I didn't know that. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Team Ico or Ico is presumably working on something else. They even said the creator of all those games, like Ueda, whatever his name is, isn't directly consulting on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but you know what else I was kind of surprised by?
All right, last thing. Go.
Well, it's not. All right, I am going to geek out about Sonic Mania at some point, but
we'll have plenty of time for that later.
Yeah, but I'm also kind of intrigued by Dad of War.
That's a good name for it.
Yeah, it's essentially. Well, okay, I didn't jump on the boat of God of War.
I'm not a huge fan, but because I wasn't really good at when I played the first one.
I mean, I love the graphics. I love being able to swing around and Michael Bay punch the shit out of like slithering water dragons and shit. But I just did not like Kratos.
No, I forgot that's the main complaint is that the plot and Kratos himself are just kind of shitty.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, I get this is around a time when super badass characters are running around flexing muscles. We're the anti-Nintendo, and I'm like, yeah, but Sega already did that. I'm not impressed. But give me a character I can relate to, not necessarily like, but give me someone that I can, And
then so here's the new one.
Yeah, here's a new one.
It's really bold of them that like this is such a reinvention, down to like how the camera moves. Yeah, it looks like Last of Us starring Kratos in terms of like mechanics and camera.
It does. I like the fact that there's a point in the trailer where this giant slithering dragon shows up and he's speaking, I don't know, Spanish or something. And the kid is like, "Hey, this dragon's trying to tell us I'll help you." And knowing Kratos, he instantly wants to kill it. So the game. That tells me that the narrative is saying, Kratos, you can't kill everything. Yep. No, you have to teach this boy.
Yeah, it's definitely going to have a stronger emphasis on characterization and plot, which I am all for. Maybe I'll still suck at it because, full disclosure, I've never beaten The Last of Us because I suck at actually playing it. But maybe I'll just play this on easy. But yeah, so E3, a lot of interesting showcases, including stuff we already knew about, or in the case of Mario Rabbids, stuff that was leaked all year.
Yeah.
Imagine if we hadn't known that and that first came up. What would the internet have been like at that moment?
Say that one more time.
Imagine if we had no idea Mario Rabbids was happening till that announcement. How do you think like the Twitterverse would have reacted to that?
Probably
mass horror.
You know what? It's still a mixed reaction online. Like, I know it's still leaning a little bit positive, but I'm still hearing a lot of people kind of like, why?
Yeah, well, at least we had more time to accept it in the months leading up.
Yeah, I think honestly, if it was a bigger surprise, I think it would have leaned negatively.
Yeah.
Just knowing how Twitter reacts.
It would have been like, do you remember when Wind Waker was first revealed?
Yeah.
I was on that negative camp, just like, what the fuck are you doing, Nintendo? This looks awful. Then the more that came out, the more I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
See, I'm the complete opposite. See, I wasn't, you know me, I'm not a Zelda fan pre Breath of the Wild. So when seeing the Space World trailer of Link going against
Ganondorf,
and that weird 180 they pulled with Wind Waker. Yeah, I was like, this is fine. I like this style. I felt like the only one in the world who was like, sign me up.
I don't think you were the only one, but it's just it's because it really felt like they pulled it out of nowhere. Yeah, that's. And then they did the same thing with Twilight Princess and got one of the most epic E3 moments ever.
Yeah, that's one of the things I gotta say that Nintendo still really hasn't learned very well of. What? Like they're pretty good at. They've gotten better at releasing things and being kind of honest, but when they're releasing hardware and telling people that, hey, the demand is not great. Oh, yes, it is. We only have 6 units left. Who knows? That kind of marketing.
They are not a company with a strong grasp of supply and demand.
They're not a company that has a strong grasp of, hey, just be fucking honest sometimes, huh?
Everything I've read about the Switch shipments has made me happy. I did choose to get mine at launch. Yeah. I'm actually supposed to get ARMS in the mail by tomorrow or Saturday. I'm curious to try that out.
I'm hearing fun things about
it looks, people are comparing it to Wii Sports Boxing, which I love, so
yeah, that's good.
And I just heard the theme song for the first time, and man, it's epic. But we should probably stop to render and move on to our feature presentation.
Okay, no problem.
It's going to be a problem once we actually talk about this thing. I also just want to let everybody know that since we've been definitely getting some new subscribers thanks to stuff like the Generation Animation crossover, we are going to start opening the doors for viewer feedback. This can be questions. This can be critiques. It can maybe even be suggestions for content. We can't guarantee anything, but if we see something promising, we'll talk to each other about it. So there are 2 ways of doing that. We with both our social media avenues. One is facebook.com/sketchwatchplay, and the other is twitter.com or @sketchwatchplay. You can leave comments directly on the Facebook page. You can do an reply to our Twitter account, and if you follow us on Twitter and also ask for follow back, then we can do direct messages if you want to ask stuff in private.
Yay.
Yeah, Chris summed it up really well.
Also, hello to our new subscribers.
Yeah. I don't know our subscriber count. Libsyn doesn't provide that, but we have been getting more and more downloads in the past couple months, which is encouraging. And our Transformers episode in particular has done very well. But actually, here's a good transition. When we talked all these Transformers cartoons, one of the shows we spoke in particular was that 2001 Robots in Disguise shit heap. It was a terribly made show, but it was very fun discussing everything that made it misguided. Yep. And that carries over into what we're about to discuss, because it's also very relevant because we were just talking about Mario Odyssey. Mm-hmm. And it is the very definition of a guilty pleasure for me. It is probably one of the most notorious of many notorious video games and movie adaptations. The 1993 bomb, Super Mario Brothers.
Did you have to put the word bomb in there?
It absolutely is a bomb, Chris.
Yeah. What were the figures? Like 40 million?
It cost about 40 million to make, and made half that worldwide.
Yeah, that was disappointing. $20 million is what I got back.
But when you see it, you understand why.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you before we go into it, when did you first become aware or see this movie? Did you see it around the time it came out, or much later, or what?
See, I saw it when I was, I didn't see it in theaters.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. Like, no, it was such a magical experience when my dad gave me, like, Super Mario Brothers 1 and then Super Mario Brothers 3 in, like, their little cartridge boxes. And I was like, oh, my God. And now they're making a movie. Whoa. Oh, man, I was so ready for this. And then when the movie came out, I was like, Dad, can we go see this movie? Yeah.
When you were little, were you Michelangelo?
Yeah, I was totally Michelangelo. So, it never happened. Like,
your dad just said no.
Well, he didn't say no. He didn't say yes, but I think he knew.
He said maybe later, I'll bet.
No, he didn't say maybe later. He just
didn't respond, and you walked away.
I think he distracted me with something else. He was like,
Chris, look at that.
He's like, look, kid, there's a Power Rangers episode on.
Oh, yeah, this is around the time Power Rangers first starting out. And to further add to why this movie bombed, like a week or two after it opened, Jurassic Park opened.
Yeah.
That just sealed its fate. But me, I don't remember seeing commercials or trailers for it as a kid. I didn't go to that many movies as a kid because of parent supervision and all that. But I remember when I was little, my first magazine my parents subscribed me to was a little thing called Disney Adventures. Which is this awesome little.
Wait. Was that the tiny handbook?
Yeah.
I had that.
It was awesome. It was made by Disney, but it wasn't just about their stuff. Like, it had a bunch of comics in every issue based on their shows and movies, but it would cover all sorts of, like, kid pop culture. And I think that's how I discovered this thing existed, because in one month I opened a page, and there was an ad with that immortal tagline, "This ain't no game," and another ad for, like, the trading cards and such.
Yeah.
I also, for a little while, I think maybe as a kid I was a little apprehensive about seeing it, because even then I could tell this is nothing like the games. The character names are the same. Like, yeah, there's Mario with a mustache and stuff, but that's not Bowser. That's not Yoshi. Those aren't Goombas.
See, I was an easily impressionable kid, but even I knew when I saw little screenshots and posters and shit, I was like, that's Eddie Valiant from Roger Rabbit.
I was going to say, you said Roger Rabbit is your all-time favorite movie, so obviously every time you see Bob Hoskins, you think Eddie Valiant. Okay, I am so ashamed. This movie is my main exposure to Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper is like one of the most revered actors of all time.
They are.
And I always think whenever I see or hear about them, oh yeah, Mario. Oh yeah, Koopa.
Mario. Luigi Mario. Oh my God, they did make that into a thing. And isn't that canon now?
I think Miyamoto recently, for a while, he'd been saying, Miyamoto's done some retcons to Mario in recent years. One, he said now the Koopalings are not Bowser's kids, just his top generals.
Yeah.
And the other one, which I'm not a fan of, but the other one I am a fan of, is like, he's like, their last name being Mario is the only way that Super Mario Brothers name makes sense. So yes, he's Mario, and he's Luigi Mario.
Shigeru Miyamoto's an insane old man.
He's Japanese. That comes with the territory.
Wow. Yeah, that's canon. Now, okay. So can I just say that even though this movie it's not good, no. I'm going to flat out say it, and I know that there's a large cult following for this movie.
I am part of it, and I will fully admit this movie is dog shit.
But saying that, I still really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of respect for this. This is a crazy-ass movie.
Yeah. It's batshit insane.
Something that could only have been made in this time period, because this movie, everything about it screams, remember the 90s? Remember what 90s action movies were like? Mm-hmm. From, like, the look of the futuristic dystopian city that's supposed to be the Mushroom Kingdom to all the weird technology. It was actually the same set designer as Blade Runner.
That's right. Yeah, what was his name? David Snyder?
I don't remember, but I mean, that should tell you about how misguided this was. Like, why would you? Because the development history of this movie is nutso, and it explains a lot because it was just reworked to death. It took so long for them to find writers and directors. Like, people would write it, then get fired, it'd be written. Then they would say, "Oh, should bring back the old guys to adjust that script. Bring back these directors, get rid of those directors, and this and this." And they were still rewriting the script during filming. Like, the actors gave up trying to memorize the whole thing because they knew a lot of it would be replaced. And they openly said that the script they got even on day one was not the script they originally signed on for.
Yeah, it was totally
a mess.
Poorly maintained. It was a goddamn mess. And this is why, for any of you budding creators out there, this is why being able to write is so important. Like, never minding like being able to draw or being able to conceive ideas, being able to put together a clear, definable plot, even if it's experimental. That is an essential thing.
Also, being able to direct, everything about it is just such a clusterfuck.
Yeah, even the direction was, being able to direct is something.
It was directed by first time, they worked on Max Headroom, apparently. It was a husband-wife duo. Apparently they were total tyrants. There's a story John Leguizamo told about, there's an extra, the male director thought his costume didn't look dirty enough, so he poured hot coffee on it. This ruined their careers, at least in terms of Hollywood. They have not done, as far as I know, no direction on any major projects since. And they even say, like, when somebody finds out, oh, you directed Mario Brothers, bye. This movie is, but we'll get some more of the making of it later. But
which can I say? Sure, they made Super Mario Brothers the movie. Yeah, and it's 20 goddamn years ago. And sure, it's a bad movie, and it's weird, and they cause so much strife on set, and they probably emotionally scarred a few people,
physically.
Or physically, apparently.
Bob Hoskins broke his hand during an accident while driving, and I wrote this down because apparently John Leguizamo said when this door slammed on Hoskins' hand, he unleashed a stream of
Cockney Tourette's.
Yes. Beautiful description.
Which is weird.
But it makes sense.
But oddly accurate.
Bob Hoskins was a British guy, even though, the roles we associate with him, he's a New Yorker.
Yeah. But
was Eddie Valiant meant to be from New York?
I'm sorry. Eddie Valiant? What, sweetie, where was Eddie Valiant from?
He was American.
I mean, he was from America, but he was from, Brooklyn? Chicago?
Okay, yeah, some metropolitan. Anyway, Chris, finish up what you were saying about the being scared. Are you talking about how Nintendo's been scared to make anything sense?
Well, it's not just how Nintendo's been scared. I mean, recently they started wink and nudging.
They've said they've opened talks back up. Yeah,
they're trying to get back the movies. Apparently, Nickelodeon's working on a thing for an animated series.
Castlevania?
I don't know about that, but what I'm saying is that these directors, if they're into doing something, I don't know. It's been we're all grown up, we're all adults at this point. Maybe they should try doing something else. I mean,
they deserve like a lower budget shot.
Yeah, or just do something indie and just release it on Vimeo without giving a shit. They're gonna have to come up with their own money, that's for sure.
Yeah,
and maybe they should appeal to the Mario Brothers cult that's out there. Be like, hey, first they got to be like, look, we fucked up. We were coming out of our own element. We treated people like shit. And you know what? It's really up to you if you really want to give us money on this new project that we might be working on. I don't know if they're working on a new project, but they seem to be wanting to work on stuff.
Makes sense.
I personally, I wouldn't give them my money, but
but they should do it anyway.
But if I don't know them well enough, honestly. But if they're pushing to do something, then do something.
Yeah.
Just do something, throw them up on Vimeo, and then walk away and be like, please work. We
can come back to the behind-the-scenes stuff towards the end, but let's talk about the movie itself, because it is such a fever dream. I have a long list of all the crazy stuff. Okay, the first scene, it is this cartoon that looks like it was drawn in MS Paint. It's meant to simulate a video game, but it looks crazy. And it's narrated by Dan Castellaneta doing the Mayor Quimby voice. Which is just even worse for you. Like, a long, long time ago, goodbye dinosaurs.
Yeah, it was like some kind of weird fever dream you just stumbled into. Like, wasn't I supposed to watch a movie?
Then it sets the stage for the whole movie very well, on a matter of fact. Also, Frank Welker all over this movie. He's the dinosaur at the beginning. He's all the Goombas. He's Yoshi.
I didn't know that. That was Frank Welker?
Almost all the creature effects in this movie were Frank Welker.
Holy shit!
You can kind of hear it in Toad, who becomes a Goomba, but I've heard that kind of deep, voice he's used in other stuff. It's when he does higher pitch stuff like Yoshi, where you can't exactly tell. But I mean, he's done talking roles with that kind of Goomba voice. But just talking about how do the Goombas go from these tiny little things that are like all head to 8-foot tall behemoths with tiny heads? And some of them have dinosaur heads.
Yeah. I don't know how they went from that. See,
I don't know either.
As a kid, I didn't know what Goombas were. I'm just like, they're brown Muppets. I don't know.
For a long time, I didn't know they were actually meant to be like rotten mushrooms.
Yeah, they're just I didn't figure that out until later, that they're mushrooms gone bad. But I did appreciate the fact that they made Toad into a Goomba, right?
Yeah, but first he's a guy.
I appreciated that because
I didn't. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't fit at all. Why would you turn Toad into a Goomba?
Well, Toad's a mushroom, right? So if you turn him into a Goomba, that's essentially making a mushroom go bad.
He's a dinosaur in this. Although I'll give him credit because Toad is super annoying when you see him. His acting's terrible. The fungus is choking the city. You're a lousy leader.
I mean that.
And you, Koopa. You're a lousy leader.
That point kind of loses its flavor once you every good thing that you can raise up for Mario Brothers, it's compounded by the fact that they also did this really bad thing.
And a missed opportunity because there's no Peach in this movie. The princess is Daisy, who, even though back then all Daisy was in was Mario Land, but I'm guessing they picked it because that's an actual name in the real world compared to Toadstool or Peach, which makes sense.
See, as a kid who didn't play Mario Brothers 2 until late, or even
or
even Mario Land, I don't know where Daisy is from, honestly.
That's where.
But even I mean, she's from Sarasa Land, but I'm not sure what game she's from.
Mario Land was the first game.
But having said that, as a kid, I was like, "Who the fuck is Daisy?"
Yeah, but there are a lot of people who didn't have a Game Boy then who were unaware. But it is nice that they ended up bringing the character back from like Mario Tennis onward, and now of course fans ship her and Luigi together because she teams up with pairs up with.
Personally, I ship Luigi and Rosalina, but that's
I like that better.
That's me. No, you throw eggs at me if you want.
I won't. I prefer that because Rosalina's a lot cooler than "Hi, I'm Daisy. Hi, I'm Daisy."
I'm Daisy. Oh, sorry, that was Toad.
Oh God. Well, you know what? Toad did have a better voice in this in the games. Imagine, Koopa, you're a lousy leader.
I'm Daisy.
Okay, but what I was getting at, a missed opportunity for Easter egg, because Mario has his own girlfriend in this. It's made up because they're from Brooklyn in this, going with like the old lore of them being from Earth. Named Daniela. And speaking of Mario Odyssey, how awesome would it have been if she was named Pauline?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That will knowing Pauline as she is now. Making a special guest return in Mario Odyssey. I would be so down for that.
Because Donkey Kong happened first. He saved her in this city from a rampaging gorilla, and then I guess they broke up. But
or maybe were they together at some point? Or
I think the idea is in most of those games like that, you're saving your love interest. But obviously, she is old news at this point.
Okay.
To Mario.
She's the mayor of New Donk City, so
she's doing pretty busy, dressing as Carmen Sandiego, and
and holy shit, she is dressed like Carmen Sandiego.
It's the hat,
but yes, that would have been awesome if Pauline was in there. Can I back up just a little bit? How Mario, you just gotta believe anything's possible.
Improbable, unlikely, but never impossible, Mario. You gotta trust the fungus.
Gotta trust the fungus. Jesus fucking! Oh, Jesus, that was bad.
Daisy, gotta say Daisy. I gotta mention, our friend Todd, my old roommate and your old coworker, loved to when I was living with him in college, he loved to do Luigi impressions. Sometimes I would bring the movie and he would just go, "Gotta say Daisy." John Leguizamo's Luigi is like in a movie full of weird casting decisions. I think only Dennis Hopper is stranger.
Dennis Hopper is strange in that film.
I gotta wonder, because even when I first heard about him, like, that is not Bowser. Bowser is not a person. He is not a Trump-esque tycoon with weird plate hair.
No,
he is a turtle dragon.
Dude, Bowser is a person. He is a great dad, even though that he is a domineering fucking dictator turtle.
Yeah, he's a lovable despot.
But no, go on. I'm sorry.
And Dennis Hopper into this, poor guy, he is giving... I wrote down some of his craziest lines. First off, when he's first made aware that the plumbers have the MacGuffin meteor, he immediately turned to his love interest secretary and goes, "Plumber alert, issue a plumber alert." As if this happens all the time, as if they have a specific alert for plumbers. And something that even as a kid I thought was silly was after he turned Toad into a Goomba, Dennis Hopper had to say the following line very enthusiastically: "Goomba, walk tall, be proud, go Goomba, join the Goombas."
I've only seen this in spurts throughout my lifetime, and when I was in college, I watched it all the way. Oh no, I take that back. When I was a kid, I watched it all the way through once. Fell asleep on it, tried it again, and couldn't do it.
Yep.
In college, I tried it again, and I was really pissed at it. I was really pissed at how bad this film was.
Yeah.
And hearing Dennis Hopper,
I put up a clip of him today.
In such great roles as, I don't know,
Easy Rider, Apocalypse Now, Blue Velvet,
Speed.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Go ahead.
Well, hearing that, having him just yell "Goomba" just like many times over, it's fucking weird, dude.
He is slumming it in this.
Yeah.
There's no other better. Like I put up a. I don't know if you saw.
He knows what that means.
I put up a clip on YouTube today because it just struck me as so fucking stupid. Because he's all about devolving everybody, so he's cornered them. He's like, "You're going to turn into monkeys, ha 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 ha."
Monkeys. Ha ha ha.
Other lines like when he captures Luigi and Daisy, he just goes, "I'll meet you in the playground after school."
Man, I mean, I can't fault these obviously well seasoned actors.
Yeah, they all knew this was bad, but they were in it. They had to be. And my Patrick, he will love that I mentioned Koopa's made up, love interest secretary Lena is Harry Potter's aunt.
Yeah.
Aunt Dursley. And man, talk about what happens to that character is total nonsense, because she goes, okay, first off, Koopa's plan is to invade the human world with a couple of Goombas and Evo guns and rule all of it.
What the fuck was that?
And then when she gets the piece, she gets electrocuted, but she's fine, other than her hair getting frizzy and a Bride of Frankenstein streak. It just turns into a cartoon. Then she's riding down a tunnel, and she's just screaming, "My time has come, the universe is mine!" And this movie has just lost its mind even more by that point.
But it's such a... This movie has lost its goddamn mind, but it's so... It's so
fascinating.
Entertaining.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Now I say that because when I saw it in college, I was really pissed at it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, back then, I was really, really super critical about movies. Like, if this movie was bad, I was like, it's a horrible movie. It should be ashamed of itself. Crossing my arms, huffing back and forth across my dorm room. But my roommate, James Rambo, God bless him, also has an appreciation for movies. And he was a lot more mature about watching movies than I was. Because he came to me and he was like, you got to find things that you appreciate about movies. Otherwise, you will not enjoy them.
Okay. Did you find stuff to appreciate about this movie? Because I have a couple. Go ahead.
Yes. Because I really, really like the set design in this movie.
It's an interesting looking movie. There's clear effort put into its style.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. This movie definitely has a lot of texture. I'm not saying that it's not tacky in some ways, but seeing like all the materials come together, seeing like the metropolis of, what was it, Dino City?
Dino Hatton, which
Dino Hatton. God damn it, Dino Hatton. Okay, seeing Dino Hatton come together with those weird railway cars. Yeah. Seeing what was her name? Big Bertha?
Yeah, who is that is the name of the giant fish from Mario 3.
Yeah.
So they remake her into a chubby black lady in like red studs.
Yeah. It's things like that are very strange, but seeing all the ideas cobbled together as they were, seeing them come together like that, there is something particularly enjoyable about this film.
When you get wide shots of the cityscape, it looks cool. It just does not look like Mario.
Yeah,
but nothing does in this movie.
Would you really paint it as Mario without King Koopa banners flying in the background? No. But you still get the sense that there's a lot of work being put into this thing.
$40 million in 90s money. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's in a lot of ways, it kind of tricks you into thinking that's pretty good, and it was pretty good. It tricks you into thinking that
on a technical level,
this could be a good movie.
Also, like it has the whole way it looks, and even how like the film looks. It's got that early to mid '90s grit that you'd see in action movies.
Yeah.
Like, also not a good movie. Kind of reminds me of Judge Dredd, the city parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm okay when it comes to effects. I'm not going to dwell on this. I'm not a practical effects versus CGI guy. I'm not. If it's good, it's good. But at this time, it was not a good idea to go pure CG unless you were Jurassic Park and had all the money and time in the world behind you. But the few instances they use here are done pretty well because it's mostly like morphing and dissolving effects. Like when Mario and Koopa are dissolving to go between worlds, I still think that looks kind of neat. And there aren't many full-on dinosaurs in this, and like the ones you see for like a few seconds in the background look like toys. Yoshi's a really impressive animatronic, though it becomes clear they had a lot of trouble making him walk because he only does that like twice.
You know what? As a kid, I was pretty disappointed in Yoshi.
He doesn't do anything.
I was like, that's a raptor. That's not Yoshi.
Yeah, no. He used his tongue once to trip or ensnare Lena, but really could have been any dinosaur.
It really could have been any dinosaur. But seeing him now, it really could have been any dinosaur. But I'm still like, that's a pretty okay looking animatronic.
It is very impressive outside of the low amount of walking.
Like the skill and experimentation that went into this film, regardless of the fact that this movie is not good, is still pretty impressive.
It's a trailblazer because this is the first video game movie to be based directly off a game's story. Because before that, we had stuff like The Wizard and Cloak and Dagger, where it was still like, these are games. This is like, let's directly interpret a game's actual world. Granted, they barely did, but it still counts.
So when I say that you got to find things that are particularly enjoyable about films, that doesn't mean you kind of never mind things that are obviously shitty or boring about the film. And I always err towards shitty versus boring. If a film is boring, that's it. Game's over. You can be shitty but still kind of accomplish something. I mean, you still got to get the shit out.
You can be more memorable if you're shitty.
Yeah, right. So when I say something like, well, I'm recently coming off of Alien Covenant, which for the majority of it, I found it boring. I'm like, well, they didn't really do anything new there. This was stuff I've kind of seen before. But when I look at Super Mario Brothers, for a movie of its time, the vast amount of experimentation that they did, even with the actors themselves not knowing some of the content, even if they had to wing it like day of, that kind of stuff, I do kind of, there's a part of me that does appreciate that says, these guys are professionals enough to not walk off the film and never come back.
Yeah. Let me say my other big thing that I still genuinely like about it. Bob Hoskins is giving this his all.
He is.
He publicly hated this movie so much, saying it was like the worst experience of his career, and it was the one thing he would never have done above all else. But that doesn't mean he's not trying. I love this idea that Mario is kind of a more grizzled mentor to Luigi.
Yeah.
This is before. No, keep in mind, this is before Mario had an official voice in the game, so it's kind of similar to like the Captain Lou Albano cartoon voice, being all gruff and tough. And you know different, but it's neat.
And you know what? I can't picture that movie without Bob Hoskins.
Absolutely not. No.
I know that they were talking about getting, like, who else? They were talking about getting.
Oh, I got a list. They went through a lot of actors before Bob Hoskins. They considered Dustin Hoffman, Danny DeVito, who I feel like that's pretty obvious physicality, but he turned it down. And they shot down Tom Hanks because he was in a slump at the time. Oops.
Yeah, he wasn't popular. He wasn't popular.
Also, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Keaton were offered the role of Koopa, but both declined.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was on this
as Koopa. Wow.
Know that
he would have been playing the Governator a decade early.
That I'm actually pretty interested in how that would work.
I think Keaton could have done something interesting too. He's a quirky enough guy.
Just hearing Bowser go from to that would be great.
Blabbers. But actually, I should mention. I should get to the clown car. I should mention my actual introduction to this movie, and like part of the reason why it's my guilty pleasure is because even though I didn't see it in theaters, probably like 3 years later, it was 1996. I was 9. This movie came out in 93. I finally had my mom let me rent it at a video store, and I fell in love with it. I knew it was nothing like the game, but I was too young to see it as bad, so I rented it over and over and basically tortured my parents. I think my mom actually begged me at one point, stop renting this movie. Like, I know you like the songs because that's a great soundtrack. Both like some new songs being covered, and I actually really like that song in the credits too, which was apparently originally made for Hocus Pocus, and the artists were pissed when they switched it to this movie. But so when I was in high school or college, I got DVD, and obviously then I recognized, this is shit, but I still enjoy watching it. It is for the reasons we've talked about. It is fascinating. Mm-hmm. It is a kind of movie that you will never see again, for better and for worse, because of how out of control the production and ambition and focus all were, and what a disaster it was financially and logistically and critically and publicly and in every other way.
This movie is definitely bees in a jar when it comes to being calm. Having a calm, cool, collected experience going to the movies. This is the equivalent of putting a raccoon in your pants. That's how crazy this fucking thing is. I'm not even joking. There's a point where Iggy and Spike,
dumb cousins.
Yeah, they're trying to find a MacGuffin meteor, and I like that. I like how you put that, by the way. And at some point, they become super smart.
They don't really. It just improves their vocabulary.
Yeah.
And they're even more annoying.
Yeah, like he was saying, like we're pretty intelligent now. I'm like, no, you guys just say more words.
Yeah. And I actually think they do have some good lines in their early points, like he's not going to kill us. He's not that nice. Also worth noting who played them. I don't know which one's Iggy and which one's Spike. The one with the goatee is the car attendant, Ferris Bueller, who takes Cameron's car for a joyride.
Oh, wow.
And the other one is good character, but unfortunate use of brown face. He was the Indian guy in Short Circuit.
Indian guy in what?
Did you ever see the Short Circuit movies?
Oh, no.
He's...
Oh, I did.
Yeah, the Indian guy who becomes the main hue in the second movie. That was a white guy in brown face in the late 80s.
You're right. I like them less now.
Yeah. I actually like the second one, but it's racist in retrospect knowing that. And like the Mexican street gang.
Oh.
But that's for another day.
My mind's been blown.
I'm sorry to ruin your childhood. Okay, I'll make it even better. Aziz Ansari once said that was his favorite character in movies because he was like, oh, an awesome Indian lead. Then he found out it was a white guy.
Yeah, that's right. It was his Netflix show, right?
Oh, I haven't seen it. I just know he's said that at some point.
Yeah. It's like the third, if I remember correctly.
Is it Master of None or is it Stand Up?
It's Master of None.
Okay.
And Master of None, he makes a reference in that because he's trying to book a role and he's competing against another Indian guy, and then they fly off with the mouth with that. Oh man, how could I forget that? And that's him in Mario Brothers. That piece of shit. Oh wow.
My brother pointed out to me when he showed up in an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia too. Like he's like, John, I think that guy's from Mario Brothers. Yeah, but I'm trying to think what else, because we should be wrapping up pretty soon. Oh, I know one thing you want to discuss, and we can close it with this. So, obviously, this movie killed chances of Nintendo making more movies for a long time, outside of the Pokemon movies, which were just big screen versions of the show. And even that, they became very spotty. They did the F-Zero and Kirby animes also, then they just stopped outside of Pokemon. Oh, and Donkey Kong cartoon, the all-time classic. But how would you, if they do make another Mario movie, what do you think are some of the ground up, number one things they should just establish from the get-go in terms of making it accurate and or enjoyable?
Get fun writers. Not just writers who are capable, who are competent. Not only do you need fun writers who know animation, who
know Mario.
Who know Mario. They kind of don't. Well, they do have to know Mario, but at the same time, they should be given loose creativity to be as wacky and as bizarre as Miyamoto would allow, especially if the Mario universe is as wacky as bizarre as we remember. But also, not only do you need capable and competent writers, you need to have faith in your production team. I mean, the Mario
they have
Brothers
to be in
movie,
synchronicity because that didn't happen with this movie.
The Mario Brothers movie is brimming with talent, brimming with skill, and it shows. Why didn't it work?
Because lack communication, tons of interference in redoing everything, directors who clashed with the team.
And you know what? A lot of those things have been streamlined to this point, to the point where it all should be second nature. So if I were to if what would make me happy to hear Nintendo making another Mario Brothers cartoon, Mario Brothers movie, or
a TV show too,
or anything outside of a video game that has to do with cinema, either on a small screen or the big screen, is I have to see Nintendo putting forth the effort that this is a thing. This is a thing that they can be proud of. Sega did this with Sonic Mania, and which they put their baby in the hands of fans and in the hands of people who know the material, know the audience,
and it's looking like it's going to work out for them. Yeah, and they're capable and they're competent, and people are coming away from Mania fucking blown. Like this, that's good. This thing is fun. So if I hear that through test screening, through focus testing or through test screenings or whatever, that people are coming away from the Mario Brothers shorts or Mario Brothers film with a good experience, then that tells me that the production team knows their shit and they're having fun doing it. They need freedom to do so. Also, just real quick, a more contemporary example of the opposite of that, because in our first episode, I talked about why the Ratchet & Clank movie just came off more mad to me than either way I thought. That it kind of got leaked out by some employees. That was focus test executive to death. Like, they're just rough cuts and script of that movie way closer to what fans were hoping for.
Okay,
then because of meddling, it didn't happen.
Then I take that back, because I am trying to come up with examples of how I can feel pleased. You can, and honestly, I'm not that big a fan of focus testing, but I know I know some people are. But I'm willing
sometimes.
Well, yeah, and I'm willing to cut it a break if it works.
The ending of have you ever seen Little Shop of Horrors?
No. Oh wait. Rick Moranis and talking. Yes.
The original ending is completely different and insanely bleak, and every focus audience agreed it killed the mood, so they recut it to something that fit the movie better as a whole.
Also, something similar happened to Independence Day, where at the end, where Randy Quaid is flying the plane up into the UFO. Yeah. See, originally it was like a regular like farming plane, where it was like a crop dusting plane. Okay. But when they focus tested that, when they did a test screening of that, the audience came away with, that's funny. That looks stupid with a plane just going up, the small tiny crop duster going up into the UFO. So they changed it into like an actual fighter jet going up into the UFO, blowing at the bit.
Wait, did you see the Nostalgia Critic alternate ending video?
I didn't.
They mentioned both the endings we just talked about in that. Independence Day. You can see footage of, I think actually the alternate Little Shop of Horrors ending, it's on YouTube, and it's impressive because it's this violent climax, but it's just, it wouldn't have worked. But also, what the things I would do for this Mario movie, even when I was a kid, there were two things I say, like, well, you made a live-action, gritty Mario movie, doomed from the start, at least in terms of authenticity. It has to be animated. They have a lot to work with in terms of, like, visual reference.
They do.
And there should be heart to it. It shouldn't just be pure comedy. But Mario has always been lighthearted and needs to stay that way if you're doing another, like an adaptation, a movie reboot to differentiate from this other one. The one thing that they would have to deviate from the game in some way, because there isn't anything to work with, is that you have to give Mario dialogue and a genuine personality. Because he has been voiced by
as much as I love, what's his name, Charles Martinez. As much as I love him, there's bound to be a few people who are going to be like, that's not how Italians really sound.
Actually, years ago, our friend Colin pointed out to me, like, if you actually had Charles Martinet do the exact same accent for full conversations, and he ended every other word with you would lose your mind.
Yeah. Now, it'd be funny every so often, and you know what? It'd be fun to play off of like some kind of weird sitcom like Sonic Boom kind of does. But at the same time,
if you're trying to tell a story and a character's arc,
you need a genuine actor that can both be Italian and can actually pull off lines that people can understand, people can laugh at.
Martinet does have, like, he is a proper actor, so he might be able to do, if you told him to turn the accent down, he could still pull it off. Yeah. But I don't know either way. But also the other thing is, Mario does not have a personality in the games other than a jovial hero, because they don't let him talk. And even in the RPGs, like, they aren't his story, really. It's like they view Mario like Link. He's an audience avatar.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, that doesn't really work too well if you have like every other person like having like a giant bunch of lines. Yeah. And he's just like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, Luigi, you've got a personality. He's kind of a wuss. And to the Mushroom Kingdom, he's like Meg Griffin. I was playing Mario and Luigi Paper Jam the other day, and there's a great part where, like, because, Luigi's also a mutant since he's the main character, so you have the narrator partner saying, was that Luigi? You think these toads must be scared? Oh, you think it's a horrible future headed for them? Well, and you think you might be able to save them? Luigi, don't worry. That's not true. We all know they're hoping Mario will save them.
I would love to see, like, all right, if I can double back real quick.
Sure.
Like, having writers that we're used to, and plus new writers, and seeing their names and seeing their credits, but having them like come up with material to bounce back off with the audience here and there. I would settle for writers that came off like Color Splash or even like the Paper Mario games, because
we talked about how great. Yeah, Paper Jam's the same way. The writing in the RPGs from a comedic perspective has gotten amazing.
If they snuck in like one of those innuendos in
all animated movies do,
like the really dirty ones, like the shy guy in the deep dark corner who's like tugging on something, like,
but also, okay, you know what? Two directors that I know we both like and have been in the news recently. Lord and Miller would be a good fit for this.
They would be, I think. But I recently heard that they were working on a Star Wars Lego.
This is what I'm talking about in the news. They just left Han Solo with a few weeks left because they were disagreeing.
Yeah. And it happens.
But looking at their style and their animated stuff, both Cloudy and Lego Movie, like something fast-paced and colorful but still funny and heartfelt when it needs to be, like that is a really good fit for the Mario franchise.
I think so too.
And it wouldn't surprise me if they're fans of the games because they're such into like a lot of geek culture franchise in general. Judging by the references they do,
absolutely, they'd be an excellent fit.
If I hear that it gets offered, if this thing happens, and if I hear that it's offered to them, they say yes, I'm gonna be optimistic. Kind of like how we were talking about Mark Osborne, who did the first Kung Fu Panda and Little Prince. It was recently announced he's gonna do an adaptation of the Bone comics.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm like, I'm game. Do this. Yeah. He can do this. Same thing with like people like Lord and Miller. Like as much as I love Brad Bird, if they said he was doing Mario, I'd be like, he's not the right fit for this.
I wouldn't mind like having like guest writers or guest directors come in or guest animators come in every now and then. Like it would be really fun to have like James Baxter animated episode of the Mario Brothers.
A new show. Cartoon. Yeah. I'd settle for a new show too because we haven't mentioned it much, but the Mario cartoons, in some ways, they're even worse than this movie.
Yeah, that was then.
I'll give the 3 in World shows credit in that they're more game accurate, but everything else is pretty dog shit. The only show where somebody had to rescue the very talented Milli Vanilli. You ever see that episode?
No, I didn't.
There is. Do you know who Milli Vanilli was?
Yes, I do.
Not a joke. Wait. There was an episode of Mario 3 where Wendy Koopa demands Bowser kidnap Milli Vanilli. And Mario and the others go to save them, and they got Milli Vanilli to voice themselves because they were such a hot deal at the time. But
that didn't turn out too well for them.
No, they were the Ashley Simpson of their day. Only even worse, like they'd never done any actual singing.
That would be fun if they did little special guest appearances like that, but it can't be too on the nose like that.
No, I mean maybe other Nintendo characters like the Skylanders cartoon had Crash Bandicoot show up. Maybe you could have like other, like you have Wario or Donkey Kong, like people that are technically already part of the Mario series, or maybe like do a cross-dimensional thing and like you shouldn't have like Zelda or Fire Emblem, maybe like Animal Crossing, Splatoon.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
A lot of opportunities there. I mean, Mario Kart's technically already started doing that with the DLC characters.
There are a lot of really fun things that they can pull off for a Mario Brothers animated show or even a new animated movie. A wide theatrical release of a Mario Brothers movie. I know studios are kind of keeping an eye on things right now after Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank.
But Angry Birds did great.
Angry Birds did great, I'm sure. But then Ratchet and Clank came out recently. And I know that they were talking about Sly Cooper and who knows where the hell that went.
Oh, well, actually, you didn't hear?
What?
They're going to make it a TV show instead. Sly Cooper TV show for next year.
That's much better.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They don't have to pull off a giant theatrical look.
Yeah, I talked about how Ratchet would have been better suited for like Netflix or some streaming service because they lost a lot of money promoting it with theaters. Like even when I went to see it in theaters, they had the popcorn labels with it, but nobody saw it.
That's better to do. I'm fully on board for a Sly Cooper show. I think studios are keeping an eye on the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that's going to come out. Yeah. And I am not on board with that at all.
Not at this point, no.
So
we do got to do a Sonic episode someday soon. We bring up so much.
Someday soon.
I've actually been thinking maybe we can do an episode about the games and one about all the Sonic cartoons.
We can just mash them together, just make it a Sonic.
It would have to be a really, really long episode.
Yeah.
Hope you're aware of that.
Fine. That's fine.
But to wrap things up, because we've gone over our original time deadline that we were hoping for, the Super Mario Brothers movie is batshit insane, really awful, and I recommend everybody watch it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are really endearing about it. I mean, and you can
not the World Trade Center shot.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about like from a critical standpoint, no.
Oh hell no.
But from a production standpoint, from the sheer audacity of it all,
imagination.
Yeah, it's got a lot of creativity behind it. Even if it doesn't really mesh together, it's a beautiful, gigantic fucking mess.
It's a beautiful train wreck. It's a fascinating kind of train wreck rather than the completely painful kind of one.
It's one that I definitely watch. Again, if I had the chance.
It has been on Netflix in one form or another for years.
Yeah.
I just watched an HD version of it on Netflix unedited the other day instead of digging up my DVD. Like, you don't have to pay money to see this thing because everybody knows, like, people aren't going to pay for this.
I don't mind if a movie is bad. Just fascinate me. Just be something that can be fun to watch every so often.
And this succeeds with flying colors in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to out and out say that I'd give the directors another chance, but if anyone out there is willing, and if they number one have learned from their fucking mistakes.
Well, they've had 20 years to think about it.
Yeah, they've had 20 years, and some people change and some people don't. But if they actively showed that, they've earned some experience and they've done better, who knows what they could create now.
One last thing about the movie itself is to wrap up. I forgot one crazy thing about this story, the ending. So it turns out the fungus is the king, de-evolved, because that's how evolution works.
Yeah.
Why does he turn back to a person at the end when Koopa dies? There's no scene of anybody at the machine, and it's not a thing like, oh, Koopa is dead, the curse is broken.
It's the dreaded Act 3 rule, where anything goes.
And it's Lance Henriksen playing him. Mm-hmm. For one line. Oh, I'm back. Love those plumbers. They didn't even get him for a day. They got him for 10 minutes. You didn't need that.
There are so many things about this movie.
As a kid, I just accepted that. Like, oh, he's back. Yay.
Anything's possible.
You gotta believe, Mario.
Just the
fungus.
Everyone tried their damnedest. Everyone.
Yep.
And even though some lines did not come across very well, everyone tried their goddamnedest. And I appreciate that.
Appreciated, even if it all comes to shit. But I guess it's time to start wrapping things up. So on our next episode, so on our opening segment, we both agreed I've already seen Wonder Woman, and you're going to have seen it by then. So we'll finally give our thoughts on it. Start out with general thoughts, then do a spoiler part you can skip over. But Chris, since it's your pick, you had a really unique idea for what we can talk about. So tell the audience.
I would actually like to talk about some of our personal projects that we've been working on, whether or not it's some of our animated shorts, our animated film ideas, or just some of the hobbies that we've come up with and some of the ideas that we kind of work on our own. I'd like to get viewers or listeners a chance to get to know us creatively. I
guarantee it's going to be our least downloaded episode ever. But that's okay. It'll be nice to get to talk about this with each other, and it can probably give our work some exposure. Like if you're a listener who doesn't know us in real life and you've kind of been curious about like everything we say good or bad about stuff, and like so what kind of stuff do we like to do? This will help a bit, and hopefully I can get that E3 video up, and maybe because I'm going to keep linking to the Will of Monsters, your passion project short, in the show descriptions, and you can obviously talk about that more too.
Thanks,
I'll definitely be talking about Spacious, like my dream sci-fi show, and maybe I've been working on, maybe I can get some preview shots up on YouTube as like a private link, and just we can discuss like what these characters mean to us, these stories, and even other projects like my YouTube reviews, the Wario stuff, and even drawing. It'll be a really unique episode, but honestly, that's why I'm excited for it. It'll also be a very personal episode for the two of us, and the viewers will get to know us a little better in that way.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But this has been a fantastic episode. Our E3 discussion, our Mario discussion, the angriest Chris has ever gotten. Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I gotta say this.
Okay.
I am so sorry if I offended anyone about that. About the fact that I do not like the Rabbids. I just think that we could do better.
The entertainment from that blow up was worth it, Chris. But
if you like it, that's fine. Just don't. It's just my dumb ass.
And I do like them as characters, not as games. But so thank you for listening to Lucky Number episode 13. I am John Fleury,
and I'm Christopher Wade.
Trust the fungus.
No, goddammit! I don't want to trust the fungus.
Got a feeling, big brother?
No! I don't wanna.
You were the opposite direction I suggested. Ha!
This fucking movie.
It was like we just got sneezed out by the giant nose and this big booger saved us.
Why?
Yeah, Mario. Go, Mario.
Why?
Okay, hike.
The elevator scene, though. The elevator
Everybody loves to dance, Mario. Even the Goombas. Go back to Brooklyn. Tell them about the invasion of the Goombas.
Why?
I'm Luigi Mario. You got a problem with that?
Oh, God.
Yeah, this is going to be the clip I put after the fade out music.